Salutations, fam. This is Dark Slayer Arim from Haltessiagaming, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing the deck profile of my recent Branded Blue Eyes list. Yeah. So, quick going over the card by card. Gonna talk about like the matchups and just like this is gonna be the full deck profile. The deck list is in the community tab if you want to just like look at the deck list, and also it's here in front of you. But yeah, this is gonna be the deck profile. But 2 vanilla, 2 jet, triple stone of ancients, 1 stone of legend. Why these ratios? You want engine. This is your engine requirement. I never want to draw this card, right? I don't want to draw this card, so that's why I'm not playing 3. 2 jet. These are, I don't necessarily want to draw these all the time. I primarily want to summon from the deck. Getting 2 Jet Dragon in rotation is like one of the most powerful things that this deck can do. Because, having, multiple Jet in rotation means that, like, they protect each other. And even just having, like, 1 on the field and 1 in grave, so they just keep, like, swapping out. And your opponent can just never destroy your stuff by card effects is just, like, really, really powerful, right? 3 Stone of Ancient, this is the card that, like, puts your stuff in rotation. You want to draw this card because you want to use this as discard fodder. Why no alternative? Alternative just doesn't really apply enough benefit for this deck, because ultimately it just summons a 3k body, and the deck that is, summons 3k bodies quite easily, but it doesn't offer as much value as like discard fodder as like these other cards. If I discard a Blue Eyes White Dragon, I can summon it off of True Light. If I discard a Jet Dragon, I can summon it off of its own effect. If I discard alternative, it is just in the graveyard. The only way you can summon alternative is in the situation where you have a Blue Eyes in hand, and again, we never want to draw this card, so ideally we don't have Blue Eyes in hand, okay? And if you do draw Blue Eyes, you just discard it, because you can summon it from grave with True Light, 1 Stone of Legend, because sometimes you will not have a good discard. So when you want to have the 1 Stone of Legend, I'm playing the 1 Stone of Legend so that I can go Branded Fusion, send the Stone of Legend, and the Stone of Legend effect, add a Blue Eyes to discard off of Blue Bellion. Just to explain that one real quick, you make Albion, and then Albaz and the Albion makes Lubellion, and then Lubellion pitches the Blue Eyes to fusion summon into Mirror Jade. 2 copies of Fallen of Albaz. I have been greedy in the past and played 1 of this. You can definitely play 1 of this, because reality is, if it's in the grave, you can shuffle it back with Ultimate Fusion. There have been builds where I'll play 1 of this and 2 of this. I like those builds more, but I don't know. I swap back and forth between these 2, where I'm playing 2 of this and 1 of this, or 2 of this and 1 of this. 1 Ecclesia, 1 Floor, your Dogmatica stuff. Just extra starters help you get into your Blue Eyes. Dogmatica Engine gets you to Blue Eyes because of this card, Alba Leonatus, and this card. Both of these cards, if they're sent to the graveyard, search Fusion Deployment. Fusion Deployment summons the Blue Eyes. The Floor is basically just, extra search target. Searches you that monster negate, gives you some versatility in what you search off of Ecclesia. Gives you another card to search off of Nadir. 3 copies of Keeper Dragon Magic. This card is the best starter in the deck. It ditches cards from your hand, so it gets your stones engraved. And it can search Branded Fusion, Fusion Deployment, and Instant Fusion. Oh, another thing about this card in particular is that this card searches Ultimate Fusion. This one doesn't, because this and this don't search Ultimate Fusion because they only search normal fusion spells. Fusion normal spells. So I want to clear up that distinction real quick. So it's not normal fusion spells, it's fusion normal spells. Why does that matter? So you see how it says fusion in quotation mark here? That's relevant because that means that is referring to the name of the card and not what the card does. It has to have fusion in the name and be a normal spell. That is why you can search fusion deployment. Yeah. Pot of Prosperity. Best consistent card in the game. You can play extra, but you would adjust the extra deck. I'll talk about that a bit later. Because, you know, I'll show you like how I would play the extra deck with extra, but just know you can play the deck with extra. 2 copies of Nadir. You're only allowed to... Oh, wait, hold up. There we go. The 2 copies of Nadir that you're allowed to play. Alright. Nadir gets you 2 eyes. Nadir sends this. Gets you blue eyes. Or you send to Cataclysm. You can send... Right? This is arguably one of the most versatile cards in the deck because it gets you whatever you need. 3 Branded Fusion. The overwhelmingly power corrupt Dragon Shrine. Alright? Branded Fusion sends Jet, sends Blue Eyes, sends Stones, sends whatever you need. Fusion deployment. Summons Blue Eyes directly from the deck, from hand or deck. You reveal any of these, summon Blue Eyes. In some weird corner cases, sometimes you will be able to roll into Outburst Fusion, summon this to super poly your opponent. Bingo Machine Go. This Blue Eyes Upstart Goblin. Just 4 copies most of the time though. Sometimes you'll set this off of True Light to get, you know, into these. The one Ultimate Fusion that you set off of this usually to, you know, go into your Tyrant Dragon. Okay? You don't use it to go into this ever because of the simple fact that you can contact fusion this. You're using it to go into this, and you're usually using it to recycle this when it gets stuck in the grave. That's more so for the builds where you're playing 2 of this and only 1 of this. You typically would use it to recycle this back into the deck when they like imperm your Albion or something like that. The 1 instant fusion to summon the Millennium Eyes Restrict. Yeah, Millennium Eyes Restrict is basically an extra called by the grave that you can also use going second against like boards. So Millennium Eyes Restrict does not have to target the monster that activated. If your opponent activates a monster effect, you can target any effect monster they control or in their grave. So if they activate Ash Blossom, you can go Millennium Eyes Restrict, target Baron Dayfloor. Then we have the 1-up called by the grave. Card broken, you play it. I only own 1 Forbidden Droplet. That's why I'm playing my 1-up Forbidden Droplet. If you have broken power cards, play your broken power cards, even if you don't have 3. Just play what you have. The 1 Dogmatica Punishment is part of the Dogmatica engine. This is also a Blue Eyes starter. Because remember, you can send this or this to get this. Triple copies of True Light. This makes this really hard to deal with because you just keep summoning this over and over again. 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Powerful trap card that you reset with True Light, with Tyrant Dragon over and over again. Triple copies of Skill Drain. This is unaffected by trap cards. If you have, so the ruling of unaffected monsters versus Skill Drain. If Skill Drain is face up on the field before the monster gets summoned, the unaffected monster will be negated. Basically, so I'm going to use unofficial terms because Konami has not really released official terms that can explain this ruling adequately. So I'm going to be using unofficial terms to basically explain how this works. Unaffected monsters basically apply that protection when they're summoned. Okay? If Skill Drain is already on the board, the effect that applies that protection will be negated, so they will not be able to be unaffected because they'll be negated. if they are summoned first, they will be able to apply their protection that makes them unaffected, so the skill drain won't be able to negate them. Now, the reason why you don't want to use unofficial turns most of the time because that doesn't adequately explain the situation most of the time. Because you might hear this explanation and think, oh, can I change Chalice to an unaffected monster when it's summoned? The answer to that question is no. Because by that point, the protection is already applied. Yeah. Moving on into the extra deck, we got Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. This is one of the boss monsters of your deck. These are primarily the boss monsters, if we're being real. This one in particular, this is like the best card in your main deck. But this is what gives the deck the reason to play the deck, basically. The reasons to play Blue Eyes are Tyrant Dragon, Jet Dragon, and True Light. Oh, and the fact that they can play under skill drain. Right? This constantly keeps resetting your powerful trap cards like Punishment and Imperm, so you can just kind of keep using them. And, post board, D-Barrier. Twin Burst. You can Contact Fuse into this. If you end up with 2 Blue Eyes, you can Contact Fuse, summon this. Then you have the 1 copy of Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. This card, you do not summon this card. This card serves the purpose of being that monster that's bigger than everything in the format that you can always pop with Punishment. Except the reason why you play this over something like 5-Headed Dragon is because this also has a graveyard effect that is relevant in the deck, in that if your opponent targets a Blue Eyes monster, you can banish this to negate and destroy that effect. That card or, card/effect. Right? So if you have Tyrant Dragon and you're about to enter a battle and they want to go Veiler, you can banish to negate the Veiler, right? If they go Baron effect to pop, you can banish this to negate and destroy the Baron. We have the 1 copy of Alba Lanatus. So, you're pretty much never going to summon this. It can come up sometimes, but I personally have never summoned this card. Since it has came out, I have never summoned this card. I strictly send it to grave in order to search like fusion deployment, branded fusion, whatever. That's why you play it, because it searches your follow-up. Mirror Jade. Non-targeting banish. Set you up for follow-up. Board wipes if they get rid of it. Unless they bounce it to the extra deck. If it bounces to the extra deck, cards bounce to the extra deck, do not trigger. So, rather, cards that have the effect when this card leaves the field, do not trigger, they bounce back into the extra deck. Or shuffle back into the deck. Then you have your 2 Albions. This is typically your play starter. You send this, search Brand Fusion. The 1 Lubellion. Another thing, you can recycle this with Ultimate Fusion as well, summoning your Tyrant Dragon. Also, you can use these to summon Tyrant Dragon. So if you send this to grave, and then you have like this or whatever, you can go Albion effect, banish these, or like Lubellion effect, banish these, and make Tyrant Dragon. That's usually a thing you will do if you're going second and you're trying to like push for game or something like that. And like they have a board of monsters, you can make Tyrant hit over everything, and then you kill them. The 1 copy of Titaniclad. There, a lot of times, most of the time, what you're trying to do is send this off of Mirror Jade so you can get access to your Dogmatica engine as well. But other times, you'll have this as an option to make a really big monster, because you can send like Jet Dragon plus Albaz to make this, and it'll be like, I think like 37. The 1 Dragos Tapelia, because you can fusion summon it with Lubellion and Albion, and it's, a negate. The 1 copy of Entis, double pops. It turns this into removal, Then you have, well, I already explained Millennium Eyes, and then you have Cypher and Let Omega. Again, this card you send off of Nadir and Punishment that you can use to recycle back your stuff. You can also use this to shuffle back your opponent's stuff. So let's say your opponent, put something in grave this turn. Like let's say they put Mirror Jade in grave, or Albion in grave this turn. You can Omega effect to shuffle back their graveyard too. And this card is not once per turn. So if they negate it, you can just activate it again. The 1 copy of VLS, just so in those like really grindy states, you can start linking off your stuff. If you get dino tokens, you can link them off for like Link Karibo and such. Being able to go link off 1 token for Link Karibo, and then if you have like a Blue Eyes, Link Karibo, a token in Blue Eyes makes this. Also, this card can be very hard to out because it can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Right? And then obviously the battle triggers, the effect to destroy, or rather the effects that triggers when it destroys a monster by battle, that effect is not once per turn. So if your opponent crashes into it multiple times, you get triggered multiple times. If you can attack multiple times, you get multiple triggers. Link Karibo. Sometimes your hand is terrible and you have to Link Karibo pass. Right? This way, in that scenario, you get to at least have a Jet Dragon on board and hopefully some back row. Right? And then the Jet Dragon means that they can't like Lightning Storm the back row. That's relevant. So the reason why that's relevant is because you do not have to have Blue Eyes White Dragon engraved for this to get that effect. It only needs Blue Eyes engraved to be able to summon itself and bounce. Onto the side. 1 copy of Dino Wrestler Pankratops, one of the best going second cards ever printed. Side the same second. 2 copies of Godarla. Why Godarla? Because of the Wind Barrier statue being relevant in the meta because of the Flunder. Alright? They natively search and summon the Wind Barrier statue. This outs it. This is one of your only outs to it, actually. You play Kaijus because this helps out things that you usually would just auto-lose to. What's the Naturia Rose Whip? That's a card you lose to. Being able to Kaiju the Rose Whip helps you. Pankratops also outs the... So let me just... So the... Right. The Wind Barrier statue. Alright. This is the one that Flunder summons. And, Naturia Rose Whip. This thing. So, some decks summon this off Hulk. Hulk negates the effects for that turn. So Hulk just summons this, and they just leave it on the board. And now you can only activate 1 spell trap, which they'll negate with the Regulus, and Regulus negates the effect. So you don't get to activate spell traps. Pank and Godarla are your outs to this. Alongside something like Dark Ruler. 3 Nib, side this in for combo. Dark Ruler, side this in for combo. Evenly, side this in going second. The majority of this is siding for going second, because most of your sides should be geared towards specific matchups and going second. And then you have the 1 copy of D-Barrier on the side, you side it in, shuts down half the format. Okay? And in this deck in particular, it's extra stupid because Tyrant Dragon just resets it every single turn. This is unaffected by trap cards or effects. So unlike with, you know, most branded variants, if they flip up, you know, D-Barrier and Call Fusion, their stuff gets turned off. With your deck, if you flip up D-Barrier Call Fusion, Tyrant Dragon does not get turned off. Yeah, that pretty much is the gist of it. Now, another thing I wanted to start doing in my deck profiles was basically showcasing what cards are like core to the deck, right? And what cards are not core, basically. Cards that, if you don't have them, you can play something else, right? Your side deck, the entire side deck, your side deck should always be built to your specific metagame and what you play against, right? Right. The reason why I bring up the scenarios that I use these cards is because that might not be relevant to your metagame, right? Right. You might be in a metagame where, I don't know, different Dimension Ground, right? DDG, right? This might be better instead, right? But yeah, stuff that's not core. The extra deck, I mean, you don't need to play this. You don't really need to play this. The rest of it's, well, you don't need to play this. This is just a good card. I would argue you kind of do want to play this or Chimera Felicia. You don't necessarily need to play both, but you do want to play at least one because you want to be able to like have that interaction of being able to search fusion deployment off of like Nadir and Punishment. Main deck wise, as I mentioned, this can be extra. These are just staples, right? These can just be like good trap cards, right? But like that's the main idea, right? The main idea of this deck is you have a bunch of one-card starters that put boss monsters on the board, and Tyrant Dragon resets traps, so you want to play your good traps, okay? Now, what would this deck look like, assuming, extra? Right? What does this deck look like with extra? Right, so with extra, your extra deck has to be a bit different, right? You gotta play 2 to 3 copies of everything, otherwise you wish banishing it. Wait, no. Oh, you don't really need to play this one, honestly. Oh, where art thou? I'm trying to remember what the name of the card is. Ah, here we go. There we go. Something like this. Right? It's something like this. The main thing with extra decks is that you're playing 2 to 3 copies of your important cards. Right? So 2 to 3 copies of everything. So yeah, this is more so what it looks like. Probably don't have space for this. Because this is like something you typically don't ever want to happen. What's the name of the card? Come on, brain. I wrote this out for somebody in a DM. Hold up. I'm gonna check my Twitter DMs and see if I can find it. Da ba da ba da. Wait, is that it? No. I can't find it. But yeah. There we go. This guy. Or Chimera Felicia, doesn't really matter. Alright. 2 to 3 of each of your cards. I'd probably play something like this. Yeah. The necessary stuff. Trying to make sure. Yeah. So we have you, blah blah blah. So this is basically what the extra deck looks like with extra. Something like this. Right? Something like this. You play multiple of these, because this is important. Multiple of these. Multiple of these. Now, the reason why you don't play too many copies of this, at 3, is because you're only playing one Ultimate Fusion, and ultimately, you don't really care that much if it gets banished, because your Blue Eyes boss monster is in the main deck. Okay? You care about this stuff, because this is what, like, helps you get to everything else, so it's, like, kind of neat to be able to summon this. But yeah, that's like the basic gist of it. As far as extra deck's concerned, some just generically good trap cards, right? There is right, there's this thing. This card's good. Dino Miscus is a good card. Derby. This is another card you can play. It's basically Dino Miscus, but you have to summon a monster using Blue Eyes, right? You gotta fusion something using Blue Eyes, which is pretty easy to do because like half the deck does exactly that. So this will be live pretty often. Obviously skill drain. Gozen is okay, but it's not insane in this deck because of the simple fact that, like, you know, you have lights and darks, right? TC Boo is okay in this deck because this is a worm, these are dragons, right? So you can have like Mirror Jade Jet Dragon or something like that, right? And these are spellcasters, so you can play TC Boo. The problem is that, like, you will not be able to build more board presence. That's why I don't like it that much. Best Floodgate is obvious skill drain, though. Mortgage Traps. Fist of the Unrivaled Tenyi. Omni Negate if you control Blue Eyes White Dragon. Champion's Vigilance. Solemn Judgment if you control Blue Eyes White Dragon. Other cards you can play. Because the main thing, again, is good trap cards to reset off of Tyrant Dragon. Obviously, there's Punishment. This card's insane. Trying to remember what else. Obviously, there's things like Solemn Strike, Solemn cards, Warning, Strike, Judgment. Those are cards you can play as well. Finally, Interaction is that Evenly is a, you know, card you can reset. So you're starting to lose in that, like, you know, grind game state. Being able to, you know, just have like a Tyrant Dragon, right? Attack over something. Set this. Like maybe you're in an Eldritch matchup, right? You attack over stuff, and they got like full back row, right? Set evenly, and then end the battle phase evenly match them. Even the score of it, you know? So that's something you could do. That's pretty funny. I have like literally a binder with all my good trap cards. I should just go get up and look at it, but I'm sorry, I don't feel like getting up. Yeah. Other side cards that you can potentially play depending on the meta. So this comes in against like the Punk decks, Sword Soul, Dragons, right? Similar. Another strong side card is Droll and Lockbird. This comes in against all the Punk decks. Branded Despia. Honestly, this is just a good card. Honestly, I'm main decking this in a lot of my decks right now. This card's very strong. It's good against Flunder because they can't add their birds, ends their normal summon chains. Obviously, Imperm as well gets around their summon chains, as does Valor. Right? What's another good one? Meister. Meister specifically is good against like Eldritch and the zombie deck. Right? This can negate the Necro World Banshee. It can negate the Doom King. Can negate like Golden Lord, can negate the Eldritch Traps. Right? Obviously, Ash Blossom is one of the best cards in the format. Right? What's some other stuff? Other stuff you can play. You know, back row hate. Let's say you're playing against like, you know, more back row heavy metas. Yeah. So let's go back to the other version of the list, which I immediately forgot what it looked like. Oh no. I forgot what it looked like. It was something like Prosperity. Because I want to showcase like the siding patterns and things like that. Imperm, skill drain. What else did I take out? I know I have. Oh, I have the screenshot on the community tab. Let me look at the screenshot real quick. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, instant fusion called and droplet. Instant fusion called by. Oh, card you can be playing. All right. Is Lord of the Heavenly Person. Right? This is another card you can play. Card's very strong. Yeah. So maybe like, you know, as I mentioned, like the cards you can take out, just play your, you know, the best cards you have. Abuse the fact that this resets traps. So yeah, siding patterns, right? These, 3, 6, 9. These 9 cards are the cards I side usually. Right? These are the cards I side usually. Sometimes I'll side out one of this. Right? Sometimes I'll side out one copy of this. That's pretty much it. Like, so these 10 cards-ish. I rarely side this out, but sometimes I do if I need to like side very heavily for a matchup, right? Like maybe I want to bring in like 3, 6, 9, 10 against combo or something like that. Like it's one of those wombo combo decks. And I want to side all this in. Like maybe they're trying to side block me or something. Right? Yeah. Against, like, as I mentioned before, like the Naturia Rose Chip thing, I bring in these. These come in because I want to be able to nib them. Going second, just in general, I bring these in. Against combos specifically, I bring this in. Against, well, any of the decks this hits, if I'm going first, I bring this in. Sometimes I'll bring it in going second as well, depending on what the matchup is. And if, like, I can, like, take control of the game. Right? Because, again, this being able to just reset this every turn is really, really strong. Yeah. Also, I bring this in against Flunder because you can use this to negate the barrier statue as well. Yeah. I think that pretty much covers the basic gist of it. I'm gonna try and showcase real quick one of the basics of the deck, right? I don't think I need to change my extra deck. I think yeah, it's just like tech stuff. So, just the standard stuff real quick. Okay. So we're gonna go. We want to ideally get to oh, I messed up. So what I was supposed to do is normal this, link off for Link Karibo first, right? Link off for Link Karibo, then Nadir. Just, you know, just assume that's what I did, right? So we're gonna go and we're gonna get as much stuff as we can. Gonna send that. And we're gonna search the Ecclesia. We would have been able to special the Ecclesia and do the play, but just pretend that that Link Karibo summons the Blue Eyes in the end phase and all that. So you would special the Ecclesia in defense, search this, set 3 cards. Well, I guess just 2. And then the end phase, the stone will summon the Blue Eyes, and then this will search a branded fusion and add it to hand, right? If your opponent doesn't make you use the dogmatic of punishment, like let's say that this is enough, which I can't imagine it would be, but let's just, if it for some reason was enough, you follow it with branded fusion and you're Gucci. Like let's say their only play is normal summon tour guide or something like that and you negate, which you would have been able to do, by the way, because the Link Karibo should be on the board. Yeah. What the? I've never seen them play this card. Interesting. Right? So we're gonna pop this. So in this scenario, because you can't use Branded Fusion, you're gonna be locked out of your extra deck. You send the Salutations, right? I'll go ahead and set the Ultimate Fusion. Or maybe we set the Bingo. Nah, we set Ultimate Fusion. Right? And then in the end phase, right? Salutations, search Fusion deployment. So we still have follow-up, right? Right. Oh, that's pretty cool. Not playing around in perm columns, I'm so bad. Reveal Tyrant, special Blue Eyes. So even though I'm locked in my extra deck because of punishment, I mean... Oh, actually, I don't think I can kill. What can I search? Oh, I can search Albas. I always forget about that. That's pretty cool. Send an Entis, add an Albas. Entis effect. I'll pop one of these back row. We'll normal you. And this is game. So even though we were locked out of our extra deck because we have the Blue Eyes stuff, right? We're still able to push for game. And again, if we didn't mess up, we'd be able to summon this and we'd have game anyway. Alright? So that's like, you know, one of the basic things. I want to show like the Branded Fusion thing. We need to open... So, you have to open Branded Fusion plus a stone. So, I'm going to dig for 6 because I want to see the... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We want to see a stone. Stone of Ancients. Okay, we saw stone. Alright, so now I get to show you guys why you play the branded stuff in Blue Eyes. So, Branded Fusion plus a Stone of Ancients. What's the shenanigans? Deck. Albion. I really appreciate the summon animations, to be honest. I kind of like that. Yes. I did this wrong. Oh no, I was supposed to summon Lebellion. My brain farted. Anyway, you were supposed to summon Lebellion here. Oopsie. Well, we have a fusion deployment in hand, so let's just pretend I summon Lebellion. So Lebellion would have ditched the stone, and then the end phase we summon a Blue Eyes. Right? And then we would just set this. So just pretend that this Blue Eyes was summoned off stone. Yeah. The second stone, I mean. Because you would summon... Right? Get another Blue Eyes. Blah, blah, blah. I'm doing everything in the wrong order, but the sentiment is the same. So the idea is that this searches a fusion deployment on the follow-up turn that gives you the third Blue Eyes. So if you wanted to play like the ultimate dragons and whatnot, this is why you play the Branded Fusion stuff, because the Branded Fusion gives you 3 Blue Eyes. Oh, we're broke. Oh, I forgot to activate this. Oopsie. Alright, here's what we're gonna do, right? Here's what we're gonna do. We're just going to get lucky and add the Ultimate Fusion. Dang it. It's fine. We win the game here. Donkey. If you guys are wondering why I always misplay so much in like these type of videos, because I'm always half asleep. Alrighty. Okay. Oh my god, this hand's insane. This is my favorite Omega theme, by the way. Alright, I'm going to try and actually do it correctly this time. Summon Albion. Summon Lubellion. I forgot to put Lubellion in the extra deck. Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. That's why I messed up. I forgot to put Lubellion back in the extra deck. Oh no! Oopsie. It's fine. Now, you can go for punishment or this. I like to have the variety in how, you know, my stuff sets up. Two in hand and end phase. Effect. Summoning Jet, because we don't want to lose to a board wipe like Raigeki. Now, because we're not locked out of the extra deck, we can get this. But this is a blue-eyes deck, so sheesh. Just in case they drew Ash. Just in case they drew Ash. Wait, what? I forgot to put Millennium Eyes back in the extra deck. Ah! The sentiment is there. You know what I meant to do. Alright, that kind of gives you the basic rundown, I think. Let me fix my extra deck. What monster am I forgetting? Let's look at my community tab. What's in my extra deck? Oh, Millennium Eyes. There's just elevator music up here. Alrighty. I can't remember what was Ultra. Oh, the Tyrant Dragon. And then the ghost was Mirror Jade. No, Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade is the ghost. There we go. Alrighty. So yeah, that should give you a basic idea of how to play this deck. This has been Darkslayer from Haltessiagaming. If you enjoyed this video, like the video, leave a comment, share with your friends. Check my description for all the useful links I leave in there. This has been Darkslayer from Haltessiagaming. Thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful day.